Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about what happened tonight in Toronto. And what happened tonight in Toronto was a sold-out show. Rotting Christ, Karak Angren, Wada, and Gairea at Lee's Palace. Now, this show was something that I had marked on my calendar from the date in which it was announced. I didn't want to miss it. Last time Rotting Christ toured in North America, the Toronto show had to be canceled because they couldn't cross the border in time. There was some paperwork issues. That wasn't to be had this time around, and everybody was greeted to an incredible evening of metal. Now, these four bands have a lot of things in common, but they also have a lot of uniquenesses, and I think that's one of the reasons why this tour package is doing as good as it is. I honestly feel like this is the reason why we're getting a lot of sold out shows on this tour run. Now, they still have about a week and change left on the tour, so you definitely don't want to miss it. You definitely want to catch them on this East Coast last portion of the tour run. But before you even go look for tickets for those shows, let me just give you a little bit of a rundown of what to expect when this tour package comes to a city near you. The evening starts off with Gairea. They're from Portugal, black metal band, and first time touring in North America, so make sure you get that early. Support the openers. Give them your love, give them your attention. These guys are trying to make a living out there, and when you're the opening band, you get 30-minute slot. There's not a lot of time for you to really showcase your talents, but I feel like these guys could play for 5 minutes and you would get exactly the essence of who they are. And who they are is a phenomenal band. For a very long time, Portugal metal scene has been Moonspell. I think Gairea now are coming into that same picture, maybe starting to define themselves, maybe not in that discussion yet, but very close to being in that discussion, because they're just an outstanding band. Watching them perform live today, I felt like what they do in studio, what do you get from their records, you're going to get even more live, because they bring a different essence to their performance. It's art in motion. That's the best way to describe it. And they have an incredible frontman. He is outstanding, not just from a vocal point of view, but from the imagery and the energy that he gives to the performance. Almost like the Jim Morrison of black metal. That's the best way to describe it. He feels what he's singing about. He feels the sound behind him. He feels the music. And when you have a frontman like that, the energy, the overall performance becomes a lot richer, becomes more textured, and you're able to get a lot more out of everything that's happening around you. But their sound was crisp, their performance was great, and like I said, having a frontman like they do definitely allows them to be different from the rest of the pack. Next came Wada, a band that I've seen multiple times on different kind of packages, but I felt like tonight's performance by Wada was perhaps one of the most dynamic that I have seen to date. I always feel like their shows are super tight, super consistent, but overly balanced. It doesn't feel like there's enough ebbs and flows from start to finish. Tonight was different. I felt like the overall choice of songs, the set that they put together, the ambiance that they created, connected them with previous performances, but also it set it apart from those same performances. A lot more ebbs and flows, a lot more ups and downs, a more dynamic set all around, creating for a more dynamic experience, making for a better live show. They are a great live band, and they've proved that to me every single time that I've seen them. I've never seen a bad show out of Wada, and tonight was no different. I just felt like they had a little bit more energy, and the choice in songs perhaps helped to that, but the overall performance became a lot richer because of it. Next, you have Karak Angren. I think they're the band that I've seen live the most. Seen them maybe 6 times, something close to that. And every time that I see them live, I always feel like they give you everything that they have. They're a great live band. I think they're a great studio band, but they're a great live band. They're able to bring everything that they do in the studio musically and then transport it into a live setting in a very smooth way. The transition is done very smoothly. Now, over the years, they've cut down a little bit on their production as far as what to expect from their live show, but I think at the end of the day, the music speaks for itself, and their music always is able to touch the fans. There were a lot of Karak Angren fans at the venue tonight, and I don't think that any of them left feeling like they didn't get what they paid for. They know what they're doing. It was really interesting to see the use of a keytar. I don't think I've ever seen that from them before. They normally use a keyboard on a stand or on a mechanical stand. depending on what kind of tour they're on and what slot they're in within that tour. But using a guitar was the first time that I've seen them do that, and I felt like it gave them a little bit more movement. It allowed them to, all of them, to be more mobile on stage, not just depending as much on the frontman for that mobility, for that action, for that interaction with the audience, but allowing everybody to have a little bit more to say as far as the overall performance is concerned. Because sound-wise, you know what you're going to get from them. Vocally, you know what you're going to get from them. They're a very consistent band as far as their performances are concerned. So changing this aspect, while may seem very subtle and minimal, it creates a much larger impact on how you're going to interact with the band and how you're going to digest the overall show. Last but not least, the Greek gods themselves, Rotting Christ. Like I said, I've been waiting for this for a very long time. This was my first time seeing them live, and they were one of those, or they are up until this point, one of those bands that were a little bit of a bucket list for me. I wanted to be able to see them as soon as I could, and as soon as I could was today, unfortunately. But what a great set. First of all, let me start off by saying that I felt like every single era, almost every single era of Rotting, and that's hard to do. I mean, these guys have a deep, extensive catalog, so it's hard to create a set list that represents that entire catalog from front to back. But overall, I felt like the set list was what one would expect it to be. It had all the right tracks, it had all the right songs, it had a great momentum to it. It's a set list that flows extremely well, immerses you in the sound, immerses you in the overall sound experience of the songs. They're a deeply atmospheric band, and I felt that this set list plays to that atmosphere, to that lore, to that aroma that they create around their own music, around their own sound. You almost lost track of time, and you almost lost track of where you were in that set. That is the kind of flow that the overall performance have. They're not a band that stops, talks to the audience, plays a song, stops. No, it's really about playing these songs, getting you into a flow, getting you into a routine, so that you can immerse yourself into that flow, into that routine, and just almost digest these tracks without even knowing that they're coming at you. That has always been, at least from my point of view, the beauty of Rotting Christ, that ability to create a sound that makes you feel something, but at the same time sucks you deep into it. In live, it was no different. That's exactly how it felt. That's exactly how it came across. Great evening, great show by Rotting Christ. They not only checked the box for me tonight as far as being able to see them, they absolutely delivered an incredible performance. But I have to go back to Gaiarea as to say that for a band that is touring for the first time in North America, for a band that's starting to break through, they definitely showed that they have a professional approach, and that was extremely important to me and surprised me deeply. So if there was a band that surprised me on the positive by the overall performance, by what they gave, Gaiarea was definitely that band. But Rotting Christ is, they're legends. They're legends of the genre. They've been around for a very long time, and they deliver a show that allows fans to walk away feeling satisfied, feeling complete, like they got what they came for. And before I go with this review, I just want to remind everybody, I'm going to put the tour dates of the remainder shows on the description of this video. If you have a chance to catch one of the shows, don't miss it. I mean, this is an absolute killer lineup. All four bands, like I said earlier, have a lot in common, but all of them also offer you a very different and unique experience. So you're able to feel like you are in one single world, in one single bubble, but you're able to navigate differently with each and every single performance. And one more thing I want to say, I want to thank Sakis from Rotting Christ for taking the time to hang out with me, to talk with me. There's going to be an interview coming up on the channel in the next couple of days. And I also want to thank the guys from Gaiarea for being who they are, my Portuguese brothers. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Diogo for this drumstick. He gave it to me after the show, so thank you very much for that. Thank you for hanging out. I want to also say thank you to the guys from Hangar. Always the nicest dudes on the planet. I mean, this tour is made up of legends and legends to be, but at the end of the day, some of the most grounded people in the metal world, in the metal business, were in this tour package. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to Season of Mist for the invite and getting me to the show. And I want to say, go see them, and I'll see you all at the next video.